Well, hey, if you've been around church at all, you've probably heard this idea or this phrase that we're supposed to be as Christians in the world, but not of the world. In the world, but not of the world. But what does that actually really mean, especially in the world you and I live in today, where the world seems to keep getting smaller and smaller, and we can have information at our fingertips from all over the planet? Well, two things really quick you need to know. In Genesis 1, God creates all of creation, the planet, all of creation, and he looks at it and he says, it's good. So when we're talking about the world, we're not talking about the planet, okay? John 3:16, very famous verse. If you've been around your church for a while, you've probably heard this. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son. What's he talking about there? He's talking about people. So when we talk about being in the world, not of the world, we're not talking about the planet. We're not talking about people. We're talking about something different. And what we're talking about is it's a messed up system of beliefs. It's a wrong, broken way of thinking. And in Philippians chapter 4, the Apostle Paul, he's writing this letter from a Roman jail. He's actually in jail as he's writing this letter. And in this letter, he writes about how to have contentment and joy and peace through going through difficult times. You know, irony, he's actually going through that. In Philippians 4, verse 8, he says, after he's written this whole letter, you can actually read the book of Philippians. It's only like 4 chapters. It's pretty quick. You could read it right now if you wanted to. But at the very end of it, Philippians 4, verse 8, after everything he's talked about, which is a fantastic letter by one of my favorite books of the Bible, he says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. The Apostle Paul would say to us, hey, if you want to be in the world and not of the world, it starts right here between your ears. It starts in your mind. It starts by thinking differently than the entrapments of the world would have you think. It would have you behave and feel and think differently than this broken system of thinking and belief that we buy into sometimes. Remember, the world is not the planet. The world is not people. The world is a messed up system of belief and thinking. And so how can the Apostle Paul, being in prison, writing this letter, how can he have joy? How can he write something like this to say, hey, finally, think about all these wonderful things. Don't think about these other terrible things. Don't buy into a wrong way of thinking or a messed up systems of belief. It's because joy, peace, all of that comes from the Holy Spirit's indwelling in us. It's a fruit, it's a result of the Holy Spirit's working in us. And so we say this all the time at Sun Valley, that what you focus on is what you move towards, and what you focus on starts right here. So today, as you start your day, finally, brothers and sisters, think about whatever's true, whatever's honorable, whatever's just, whatever's pure and lovely, whatever's commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise. Let's focus and think about that today. Let's focus and move towards that today, instead of all the other things that are clamoring for our attention and all the other lives that we could be believing, all the chaos in the news, all the crazy things that are going to happen in our day that we can't control. Instead of focusing on that and drifting towards anxiety and frustration and anger and saying things that we're going to regret on social media, let's focus our mind and our attention on Jesus instead of this world.